Hi guys, in today's video we'll be reviewing this Bachmann WD280 steam locomotive. Yeah, and this is weathered and it's got the early crest on the tender. I believe this was a special for somebody. I can't quite confirm which shop, if it was or not. The information I got said special by the bracket, so I don't know. This is a pretty old locomotive. It is 21 years old. I believe it came out, 2001, from what I can look at and see. And if I'm honest with you, it does show it in parts which you might see in the video. So yeah, let's get in and see what it's all about, shall we? As we start off at the front of the locomotive, we don't have any front coupling, which is not a big shame, but I'm sure I can add one. We also have metal sprung buffers, and they are easily sprung. They spring back quite easily, not stiff or anything like that. We also have some irons to knock stuff off the tracks, that's what I'm going to call them. We also have a vacuum pipe, which is separately applied, and so is the hook next to it in black. That's separately applied as well. The buffer beam is in red, and I think there's some rivets holding the buffers on, which is always nice to see. Moving up, this is where it gets interesting for me. We do have 3 lamp irons. We also have handrails next to the end ones by the looks of it. Could be wrong. We have some bracing as well to it. Moving up a bit more, we also have a smokebox door obviously, with a separately applied dart. We have a shed code, which I can't work out what it is. If I know what it is, I'll put it on the screen now. We also have a lamp iron at the top. The door does look to be separately applied, but I don't think it opens. We also have the number of the loco, which is 90015, and then we have the chimney as well, and some handrails. As we move on to the side of the locomotive, both sides are different to a degree. This loco is heavily weathered by Bachmann themselves, and you can see it. We have an air gap under the boiler and the chassis, which is correct, I believe. We also have some piping and handrails along the top. Yeah, some of the metal has come off the handrails over time. We also have some washout plugs as well. We have the wheel configuration, which is a 280, and the rods and all that are heavily weathered, and they look quite nice actually when they're going round. I do like it. We also have a steam pipe going up to the boiler or smokebox area. We also have a reverser there, which I think is metal, but it's there anyway. It is nice. We have some washout plugs, like I've probably already said. We also have the number of the loco, which is 90015. We only have one window in the cab as well. As we move on to the other side of the locomotive, there's no reverser around here, but we still have that air gap. We also have the wheels and weathering and all that sort of stuff around here as well. We do have a rod or a seam line going down the boiler to the sanding stuff that is there. We also have pots as well to put sanding stuff and oil in, I believe. They're all there as well. The handrail around here is slightly better, if I'm honest with you. We do have safety valves and whistles, which are quite far apart, and they both are metal. We also have a dome and something else next to it, and then we have the chimney as well. Sorry, there's not much around here different wise. As we move on to take a look at the front of the tender and the cab area itself, there's nothing really to shout about here, if I'm honest with you. They do have stuff inside the cab. We have glazing on the front windows, but not on the side windows. Everything inside the cab is moulded, but not painted. You're not really going to see when it goes round. It doesn't bother me, if I'm honest with you. You can also see the connector to the tender and locomotive, some metal strip with 2 holes in, and you put it in a pipe underneath the tender. That's how Bachmann have done it for years before the plug. As we move across to the tender, you can see the hole where the connection goes. It's quite easy. Nothing on the tender again is painted, unless it's just the weathering on the tender. I can't work it out. We do have some coal coming out the chute. There's some mouldy stuff on there, and there's some handrails as well, and there is some sort of lever there to I think it's to get the coal over water. I'm unsure. I do apologise, but that's it. There's nothing really painted on these. As we move on to the side of the tender, both sides of the tender are exactly the same to me. To an expert, there could be a few differences, but to me, they're exactly the same. We do have handrails either side of the tender, which are nice. Some are worn, some are not. I do apologise for some of the paint's coming off these. We do have a weathered crest, early crest in the centre there. Does look nice weathered, if I'm honest with you. It probably would be Chris if it was pristine, clean and all that. You know, we have a handrail at the top of the tender. We also have 2 spikes sticking out, which I think are for air. We also have an extended style bunker for the coal. Down below we have what looks like it's all moulded, unfortunately, but weathered, but it's all moulded. And the tenders and the wheels look like they go by 2x2, and then a gap and 2x2 going by the formation there. Sorry if I have anything wrong on this. As we move on to the back of the tender, there's quite a lot to talk about, if I'm honest with you. Even though most of it looks like it's pretty moulded altogether. We do have a small tension lock coupling. We also have a red buffer beam there. We do have sprung buffers. We do have a hook which is separately applied in black. We also have a vacuum pipe as well. Moving up, it looks like we have some lamp irons again in the usual places. We also have a ladder which is separately applied. We have some handrails. We also have some handrails at the top as well. There's a hole in the centre, I think, of the tender that we're looking at. As we move up a bit more, like I said, we've got the handrails and we've got two things I mentioned before, which I think are for air. Somebody said that they're for air. I'm not sure myself. Then we have the extended bunker at the top, or the BR style bunker, WG one. As we do a bird's eye view on top of the tender, as you can see we have a water scoop or water hole there for the water. That does look to be moulded. We have them two things I mentioned again for the air, I believe. Moving across, we do have the coal load. The coal load isn't too bad, and I believe it is removable as well. You can also see some handrails dotted around the tender too to go with it. That coal load isn't too bad. As we do a bird's eye view on top of the locomotive this time, as you can see, the roof of the locomotive is quite long. We also have some rivets on there too. It's either a vent or a hole in the roof, which is either correct or wrong depending on how it's meant to be. It looks more like a hole to me. Moving along, we do have them safety valves and whistles, which I mentioned before. They are metal. We also have a dome, which does look to be separately applied from this angle. We also have something else that I can't quite make out what it is. It could be something to do with the sanding gear. And then we have the chimney as well. You can also see some handrails dotted around and the weathering on the locomotive. As we look at the chassis could be metal because it's cold and it's quite heavy, the locomotive itself. I do want to point something out which I'm unsure about. Hopefully someone in the comments may be able to tell me about this. There's a metal strip near the front bogie. I'm not sure if this locomotive has pickups on the bogie reel or not, but I'm going to point that out anyway. The brake rigging has been added, which is always great when it has been already added. We do have pickups on all 8 driving wheels. We also have the base plate hardwired. It is a nightmare to get off to oil it, but there's about 4 screws to undo to get that off. But failing that, it's not too bad. Just wish they wouldn't hardwire it, if I'm honest with you, and you have to take most of the brake rigging off to get to it. And finally, as we move across to the connection between loco and tender itself, as you can see, that metal rod that had 2 holes in it just goes into a little bit of plastic. That's all it is. It's one of them you have to be careful of, but it's quite nice, quite easy to do compared to some I've seen. As we move on to the tender itself, all of the wheels do seem to move from side to side, like so. Sorry about the big finger. They just seem to move like that. The way Hornby and probably the Hatton's coaches do on the former 6-wheeled. Failing that, there's nothing to look at under here. There's a screw and a hole, and it's made out of plastic, unfortunately. And we do have a coupling at the front as back as well. So yeah, that's it on the tracks, guys. Next up will be a points test and second radius. This, even though MOT did and stuff, it does sound loud and it does sound like a pig, but it is an old Bachmann locomotive and Bachmann motors are loud anyway. So let's get into it, see if we can do the points test and stuff like that, shall we? .30, it doesn't seem to like second radius for some reason. So yeah, it managed that pretty poorly. It does say on the box, and I've looked on Bachmann's website, that it can do second radius. Clearly, mine can't. And the points test was not too bad. Like again, second radius points, it struggled. When it goes around second radius, the back wheel comes off near the cab. I don't know why. My 9F can manage it. So here goes, some slow speed anyway, and we'll have a mini running session. Loud, not bad. It's not the smoothest. What do we have there? What's that? 20. It's not the smoothest at all. I'll turn it up. So yeah, guys, that's the end of the running session. Before I give you my review, It ran with a mixture of freight. I don't know if it looks correct, but I just think it's okay. It ran a little mixture of freight. So yeah, it pulled it okay. It probably can pull more, but it would look a bit silly on my mini layout, my board, because it's quite a small board. So reasonable size for me. So yeah, this is 20 years old. Would I recommend it? Yeah, just. If the price is right, yeah, I would recommend even the new ones with the plug. If the price is right, yes. I think I paid £80 for this off eBay, and I also have a Longmore military one that came out about 4 years ago. That has the plug, and that was £140, and that was brand new. And there's no differences apart from there's pickups and a plug in the tender. That's the only difference there is to it. Does need retooling, if I'm honest. I also would like to see its sister loco or cousin loco, the WD Austerity 210.0, and I would like to see Vera Lynn in that, please. Big Vera Lynn fan. I have her signature and photos and albums and books. So please, Bachmann, please, or somebody, please release a 210.0 with Vera Lynn. You'll have my money straight away. These, like I said, if you can get them cheap, yeah. If not, it's up to you. It's your opinion. They do look nice. The motors in them are a little bit loud. This was second hand, and I think the person before me abused it. If I'm honest with you, I might send it off to Bachmann to be serviced and checked, because it's struggling over the far end. Just over there where the brake van is, it was struggling, and that's third radius. The box does say it can do second radius, but clearly mine can't because the back wheel keeps jumping off. So yeah, could be the back-to-backs, I don't know. Anyway guys, we'll see you in the next review or next video. Please take care.